procurement process and honor it and pay.
And I'm on the record, is a certain mayor, as a certain mayor seat in the procurement committee.
A city mayor is an overall person who supervises all the people employed by government.
That is supervision. I asked seat.
Yes, he doesn't sit, but he has power.
Okay, thank you.
He has power over them. Because these are employees of government.
So am I right if we hold the current mayor responsible for procurement issues?
Correct.
If he was here, you would ask him.
Okay. Thank you. Let me get to Councilman Monilas.
But the problem is that there is a gang of mafia, a marriage of convenience between the political and the technical people who decide to use this money, spend it, or appropriate it before it is uploaded to the system. We were born and raised in this city, Soroti, and there is history that effect. And one of the things I feel need to be done is to overhaul the system. In fact, members of the public are active players in this journey because we need to win off all the politicians who are in the system because they are part of the problem.
Can you tell us, we'll talk about overhauling the system, which system? Because I think you can't overhaul that system, the government system.
That is true. But you see, the system is not robotic. There are processes of improving and giving feedback. And actually, the political heads are expected to give feedback to the central government, including proposing adjustments. But to me as a person, as an observer, it is not a problem of the system. It is the problem is the people who are supposed to support the system. And I've already mentioned the technical people and the politicians. Because everything is done by the business community to collect this money. In fact, people make these payments. Supermarkets go ahead and do their meet their obligations. The schools, the shops, business communities generally go above and beyond the task and the call of duty to do their part. But you find that, for example, a business community or if the member is running a shop and maybe they have certain areas that are supposed to contribute to the system. The politicians work with the technical people to invent the system, and they come to these people, giving them threats and giving them, challenging them to not use the system, but to hand over this money to the people. There are shops, there are supermarkets in this city who are sharing the same documents that the system is based on. For example, if it is a license, you know that you pay this money is based on the documents that you have. You can find that there's 3 shops that you have in the same document. They just have different names, but when you scan it or consult the system, it is the same ERN that has been used by over 5 people to make the payments. And what happens is that one person pays and 3 others.
Thank you so much. But just before we go, so what then do you plan to do with the people that we are talking about?
The solution,
yes.
The solution is on being strict with supervision.
That is the key to mobilizing local revenue for the city council. How do you plan to ensure that you have meaningful figures in the revenue?
Of course. Now, that is the revenue collection. The system is being operated by human beings. The best thing is to do is transparency. Transparency across the system. If God we trust, everybody must use data. We must have a clear database of all the taxpayers displayed on the notice board, so that people need to understand who are the taxpayers. As far as I understand, there are about 814 business owners in this city. But how much money are they collecting? What is the structure of the revenue? So that we understand, the public understands where the money is going. We cannot say corruption before we look at non-compliance. And non-compliance is
there are over 18 companies that were contracted to collect local revenue in Soroti State Council. And most of them fail to remit. They start very well. If it is maybe 100 million per month, first month, second month, they will bring 20, that eventually will pay. Over 18 companies. And they, like Paul may say, mention the word Canada, right? The question is, how do you plan to deal with tenderers or these companies that are owned by big Canadians, who are even some of them said to be untouchable and the NRM, but they don't pay taxes. If they collect the money, their companies don't remit, but somehow the same companies keep getting tenders. They keep evolving in changing names, register companies in their grandchildren's names. They keep getting the same, and frustrate local revenue. How do you plan to deal with that?
Thank you so much, moderator. There are two things that first of all we have to understand. One, who is collecting this revenue? Those are the 18 companies you are talking about. Who owns the companies? Do they belong to our people here? Are these foreign-owned companies? Do they have interest in Teso? So we have first of all to understand who owns the companies. Then two, about to talk of Canada and untouchables owning the companies. I don't have any information about that. Maybe the current mayor will give you. So I'm not going to accuse any Canada that is owning the company and not the two. The issue is
Candidate, you want to say you are not aware of any company that collects revenue owned by a big wig. This is the task you are going to deal with when you become a mayor. Are you getting this information for the first time?
Being aware of the owners of the company, I must be having genuine and valid documents. If it's Omer and Sons, I will have proof. So I'm not going to say that I know them because I don't have anybody proof. I have to access the documents. Then two, who is this person who is paying the tax? Can we go back and sensitize these people? Can we involve these people in our planning? For example, if Rhino can as assess to pay 500,000 as trading license, how is Rhino can benefiting from a manager that is paid? It now comes back to planning. We have to be accountable to the taxpayers. After we have collected the revenue, that of 5 billion, 2 billion, after we have collected that money, we come back to the people and tell them how to use the money. So what's so important is accountability. This company will be failing to collect the money because the people are very cooperative to pay. If people don't pay, they don't know what they have to pay to not collect the money. So we have to educate our business people, we have to educate our property owners that this money is collected. Like when I become the mayor, I'm going to be accountable to them. I have to go to them, telling them this financial year we have collected 5 billion in local revenue. This is how we intend to use it.
Okay, let me change the question this way. What action will you take when you get to office and you find the same companies you have complained about for the last 10 years still having those tenders?
When I'm in the office, I am the mayor. I have the authority. This issue of saying that the Canada standards will not be there. I am not if NRM was through as the ruling party in 2026 and I am the mayor, I'm part of it. So it's not like saying that we are going to supplicate the government programs or our local revenue. It will not be there. That's what I'm going to do. And I'm assuring you, it will not be there. This issue of using standards, I am part of them. So I am fighting.
Thank you. Let me get to candidate. Candidate Emmanuel, tax evasion and the collusion are some of the key issues that are frustrating local revenue. When you become the mayor, I'll give an example that market vendors are paying daily. There are very many businesses that will pay taxes. Please, let's accept that. Let's accept order. Let's accept order. So, how do you plan to deal with those tax evasion? People don't want to pay taxes. Like there are buildings that have never paid property taxes for the last 10 years. How do you plan to deal with those challenges?
Thank you so much, Mr. Moderator. I want to thank the government of Uganda for introducing IRAS. That is a plus. Because with the revenue collection, we have to digitalize the system. In the short way, we'll be dealing with mobile money, e-receipts, and e-invoicing. It reduces people from handling. We have to engage the LOCs, LOC 1s, LOC 2s, and then the ward committees. People know all people who skip paying taxes. They know the rentals that are not occupied. They know the rentals that are occupied. They know all the small kiosks operating in town that are not paying what? Revenue. So if we involve them, it's a direct class that all of revenue will be generated. Remember what we collect and send to central government. That is what comes back. So I have to involve the local leadership. And then the other thing is zero tolerance to corruption. As a mayor, whether you are who, I will not entertain corruption.
Okay, I want to hear you how you engage with these powerful taxpayers who have refused to pay for so many years.
Okay, just like I did right, I need to understand who this taxpayer is. After I have known you, what makes you not pay? I will send my staff that I supervise to go and do what? And the payment. Okay? And then the other thing, which is very crucial, is setting the privileges or hours.
Hours.
Yeah.
All right, thank you so much. Thank you so much for responding to the questions. I hand over to Stephen.
Thank you very much for the round. We still continue with our debate, and for those following us from our digital platforms, we ask you to continue sending in your comments. We are in touch with you, and we are going through every comment, and that later we shall pick a few of them to deliver to front to your candidates, and also those in the house. Please, you will be able to be prepared questions. You will be able to deliver to us, so that you will be given an opportunity to later ask your candidates the questions directly. I want to go to the issue of the infrastructure and the urban planning. The Honorable Parliament, the roads in many wards of Soroti City are still in poor conditions, and this is not agreeable. How will you improve the road network, manage the materials of roads in the city? When you are the mayor, yes, so to follow me.
On record, all the monies from capital government now from Soroti was demonstrated, I initiated the tarmac of roads and a local city. And when you go to, at that time, we were receiving 700 to 800 million shillings. And then we were estimating 400 million shillings for the first phase of tarmac of roads. And roads were here, you will get the roads, you come to Morapesu, the local city. Go to Pamba, local city. Go to Kengere, local city. Now,
I call for this screen. I call for this screen, please. Yes, honorable.
Now I'll be very happy. From the time when I left, I came back to the city division. No more roads apart from Yusumi that I inherited when I became a mayor in 2016. And many roads are being built here. And I think currently I am on record that when I was controlling the municipality at that time, and the first mayor of the city, I opened many roads, even if they are not accessible now. I did so, and everybody in all the wards that were there in the city at that time, the 12 wards were there in witness.
Honorable Mayor, you opened the roads? Yes. We are asking, what will be your plans? What are your plans when it comes to the road maintenance and the value for money? I can give you an example, Honorable Mayor. Aliam Road is one of the roads that people of Soroti City have cried for long. Just located at the stores here. What is your plan to ensure that there is?
Aliam Road is one of the roads that we planned for. You have seen the roadworks that are going on now. On the other side, preparing the drainage channel in order to receive the construction of the road. This road, Umaria Road, Olabo Road in Kichinjaji, and the rest were the roads that I planned at that time when I left. And like I told you, that when I left and come back here to the city, and now when I go back as a manager of the city, these roads are not being constructed. There are three components where we are getting money. We are getting money under what they call the transition grant. And we are getting money under the road fund. And we're also getting money under district programs. There are roads that are being constructed in the senior quarters. And when you come to the road fund, you are free to choose. Like my position is this one. Tarmac of these roads under local city as they wind up when they continue.
Yes.
As the other bigger ones will be able to tarmac the major roads in the city here. That's all the infrastructure. So that is what will be there. As road fund will be continued. On the plans that are decided a long time ago, that roads must be uplifted in order to ensure that people move safely and they must be able to have better life.
Thank you, Honorable Mayor. Thank you very much. Honorable Mayor. We are not the national roads. How will your leadership tackle the issue of roads in the city that we all want to live in?
The issue of infrastructural development is a pertinent issue. There are grants that are given to the cities, yes, road construction. But we have to discuss with the central government, now that we are a city, how many kilometers of roads is the city entitled to? And that is because we have to get the revenue from the central government. So we have to understand the road network and also work together with the central government to give us funds For example, I have heard that Soroti City will be receiving about 19 kilometers of timber every year. Now, we should prioritize which are those roads that we are going to work on, and where are we getting the funds from. Now, we are not only talking about the central business as late and so forth. We have to do a lot of engagement with the central government on targeting of the city roads.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Honorable Itu. Honorable Elasto. Thank you very much. We are still on the infrastructure and urban planning. And I would like to ask you about the roads again. Let's talk about the issue of unplanned settlements. The issue of unplanned settlement and poor drainage is one of the issues around Soroti, especially during the rainy season. Flooding has become a major issue at the central ward and some other suburbs of the city, like Murapesu, Bamba, and Chigali. What is your plan for orderly urban development in the city like for 5 years?
Thank you very much. And part of the answer is in the statement you made, which is planning. The truth is that the current city that we are in is still operating with the colonial plan, the plan which was drawn by the colonialists before even the municipality came in. So what it means is that the leadership of the city have to undertake the primary task of planning the city. After planning the city, an analysis or a study has to be done on which areas are at high risk, which areas are more vulnerable with the worst, possibly the worst terrain, the highest risk of damage during the rainy season and the like, so that the infrastructure development is ordered. What would need to happen is that roads are established after studying and understanding which roads are urgently in need than the others. For example, if you have understood that the urban areas that are still bushy need to be opened up, it will therefore mean that monies will be prioritized to open these places. Then secondly, the biggest task lies on the city leadership, besides planning, to negotiate for funds. This money should not come as on the basis of entitlement. There has to be a careful process of negotiating with the powers that be for resources so that this infrastructure can be developed. But also lastly, it should be noted that the city mayor is like an LC5 chairperson. They have an opportunity to mobilize resources outside the government. So we need to explore which development partners we could possibly work with to make sure that additional resources are secured to open up these roads and maintain them. And lastly, the people need to own these roads. The roads should be built with the participation of the people so that the maintenance and the maintenance and the usage is equally shared by the government and by the people. Because if you just throw a road at the people, they may not take it as something important to manage or to maintain its standards. So as I close, the point is that there should be a proper plan and there should be a process of making sure that these resources are negotiated and adequately used, not abused. Because there's one thing of securing the money, and when it comes, the boat belly walk, abuse this money and use it otherwise.
Thank you very much. You can hand the microphone to General I call for order. Let's cheer and allow the president. You can cheer, but also allow the country to communicate. Thank you. From what the two colleagues have spoken, challenge you have in regards to the matter of the unplanned settlement and the drainage system of Soroti?
Thank you so much. Differently, when I'm there, one thing is understanding what we are doing on the roads. There is one thing is lobbying for funds. After you have lobbied for funds, how are they using those funds? So what's important is how are they going to use the funds? As a technical person in engineering, I am going to close the supervise the road works, drainage works, and the planning. For example, Lira Road, the way it has been constructed, we don't understand whether they are doing the right thing. Because one day I went to the office of the city mayor. I asked that as a city, this is our property. Do you have the drawings? Do you have the plans? Are they doing the right thing? Unfortunately, they did not have. So how do you supervise what you want to do?
So also the student, where do you think Soroti City should have been by now? In terms of the drainage, in terms of order in the city? Where do you think it should have been by now?
We would have been very far. And the far we can say because all the documents, which shows that this is not plan, this is not kilometers, and but if I was in that office, I've been in charge, I've been knowing all the figures, I've been having the drawings, and I've been having the plans. I've been knowing what materials are they using for the training, what materials are they using for the road. So that will be my responsibility. Besides that monitoring, I've been having an idea. If the road is a Maram road, what is the business of the Maram? That should be there. Just going to demand.
Thank you very much, the Honorable Student. Thank you very much for your submission. Let's go ahead and give the microphone to Honorable Pio. Honorable Pio, the issue of garbage is one of the biggest problems that Soroti City is facing. And we have seen a number of the members of the trading community devastated. In Morapesu market,
City is facing, and me as an incoming mayor, I will promote modern but very organized waste management systems. What do I mean here? I need to have enough trucks, lobby for enough trucks, lobby for enough wheel loaders, and lobby for enough bins, so that we stop wasting time. The current challenge we are facing, I know of only 2 trucks, of which one that is involved in removing garbage from the main market. And to me, I feel that should not be the case. We should squeeze resources, make sure we add on to the infrastructure and the garbage to be transported very fast. Secondly, I have been planned to compose the garbage and recycle the plastics. Soroti City will have a composting pit for both market and household refuse. That will result in production of manure. That manure can be sold to make money for the locals. Source of employment for our local people. If along that, we will work to ensure that our as we wind up, I will make sure that we formulate a called garbage as association. These are people that will partner with the NGOs. They will move around to help sort garbage collect garbage and take to designated places before it is taken to the depositing site.
Thank you very much, members and the colleagues in the house. We have a lot of issues we seek to address as far as our city, our city is concerned. And I want Peterson to brief the executive matters to do with policy. But as we wind up, I think we shall also now go to the Q&A session.
Thank you so much. On the issue of, I'll ask one general question that each of you respond to. And this is what, let's have some order. Let's listen. Let me have the DJ add some sound. Because the candidates will be struggling to listen. The noise is so much. You add some sound a little. Thank you. What policies would you recommend for amendment to ensure that Soroti City Council, for example, offers better services? Are there any policy changes that you think government should do, either revisit or change to ensure better services for Soroti City Council? But on that very note, I also ask you, how do you think the polluter pay policy can be improved, or why has it failed? So as those are the 21 questions. Let's start with the Paul.
Yeah, the polluter pay policy, government introduced it, but it's low intake. And the current all urban cities are struggling with it. And what we are dealing with now, the polluter pay policy, number one, during my leadership as a mayor of Soroti City, we are going to remove all aspects of collecting money by the urban authorities because there's a law. What we have seen as a challenge now is that all people who are not taken up the polluter pay policy seriously to pay transport the garbage to the market. Therefore, we shall have a policy shift to go and meet communities and explain to them, like what I did some time back, that all schemes must be removed from the corridors. And today people are doing business in those corridors. So when we remove these schemes all and go and meet communities and sensitize them about how everybody must be committed to remove such that this money must go back being allowed for other activities, then the intake will be able to increase. Secondly, what I would recommend to government in terms of revenue collection is government must be able to get a recommendation from the urban authorities and also look at the people who are opening and changing companies. Every day, give out when somebody is the company has been questioned and you have recommended it for deregistration or blacklisting. Somebody runs to open a new company. So I would imagine that the new policy should be that government must exhaust all avenues before a company is registered. And that will make it difficult for people to evade tax collections and pay them. That's what I would recommend to government. Thirdly, what government must be able to do as we must be able, as a mayor of the city, we must be able to follow up these companies and reach and negotiate with them. Like I will tell you here, There is a Ghana whom we lured to pay, and he sold his vehicle when he refused to pay money over 115 million. We told him,
but I'm asking for the policy.
the policy shift must be that we must be able to do that standard checks and balances. It must be recommended. Both politicians must be able to recommend that this company actually must be recommended. All this photograph. Right now, what is happening, let me tell you, Peterson.
Okay, thank you. You are talking about the procurement. Okay, thank you.
Changes in procurement.
Thank you. Let me get to Francis Esulu. Any policy that is going to be amended or changed to make sure the councils serve people better. And then, what do you make of the polluter pay policy?
Thank you so much. About the policy, you know, these cities have developed. So we are not going to wait for government to bring a uniform policy. As a local government, as the mayor of the city, the council should be able to bring a policy which suits Soroti as a city. Because Soroti as a city has value problems and challenges compared to other cities like Malala. So government now our policy that can make us manage our city. About the government, one, before we can even go to policy, one, who brings this government? Can we make the people understand that we are one?
The question is about the polluter pay.
Yes,
What we are
paying, yes.
address the policy.
Yes, that is why I'm saying the policy can be understood better if we say that. First of all, the garbage collection in the city should not just be left on the city council money. But we have private companies collecting coming from the households. If we had done, then this policy is still being managed by the city. Because now, if you are generating garbage at the home, it should be a responsibility.
We already have two companies doing that.
We have two companies doing that. It has not been taken as something serious. They are just doing the work. The people who have accepted, who have understood the policy of the government. But these are some of the things that we should also have as council to make sure we educate and enforce. If you have a residence like this one, who collects your government? Where do they have their government? But if we don't take government, we don't know where the government is the government ends up filling all the streets. Because we now collect your government at your home and you want that just down the streets. But if we have a government,
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. That's a good point. Policies.
Oh, good.
What would you recommend for amendments or change? And then also need to know your evaluation and understanding of the polluter pay policy.
It seems to be amending the question very close to me. But the answer will be.
That's the same question about the changing now asking.
I thought we were responding to the issue of service delivery and the polluter pays.
I'm asking for general policies. What policies do you recommend for amendment? Don't worry how the others answer. It's the same question. The answer is different, but it's the same question.
It is good to be clear. So, to begin with the issue of the polluter pays policy, I think that whereas it is a good policy in itself, one of the challenges is on the follow-up and implementation. Because the council is too busy running around trying to do too many things and may not have the necessary time and the attention to implement this policy. So one of the recommendations I would make is that we decentralize its supervision and management. So that, for example, we engage the LS1 chairpersons and the ward leaders to supervise some of these policies, because those are the people who live at the localities, know who are the abusers of the policy, and are better placed to follow up and enforce, or even where there are breaches, raise alarm. So, decentralizing the supervisors and the implementers of the policy would go a long way to make sure that it's effective. Then secondly, on the issue of service delivery, I think the point has been made around how some of these companies become too big-headed that they are not willing to respect or meet their end of the bargain. I think that whereas political leaders complain, I needed to remind them that there is actually an opportunity and power placed among political leaders to make sure that some of these abuses are checked. Because being an L65 chairperson or a city mayor, one of the roles you have to play is supervision of implementation of government projects and service delivery in general. So that, for example, if there are companies that are not delivering through BPA laws, it is allowed for you to blacklist, that is one. But three, cancel. If there is a running contract with a company that is not delivering, it is very basic contract law. Before acceptance is made, there are terms and conditions. If you breach a condition, you don't have to wait until the end of the term for your contract to be stopped. I think the problem is lack of the opportunity or the power that the law has for leaders to utilize to check some of these people. As a lawyer, I'm better placed to explore some of these legal opportunities or legal remedies to apply head-on to some of these abusers. But also, there are people who are employed by the council to do service delivery. For example, through the service commission, the city recruits people. How then do we have the energy and time to recruit and very lazy and supervising them? But by the same opportunity we have to hire them, we also have the opportunity to fire those that are not delivering to the expectations of their contracts. So it's about taking charge and taking leadership.
Thank you, Council. Council, let me get to Simon Pilar. What he said. That's one issue responding to. And then two, what are those? What do you recommend? The recommendations you make? Either an amendment or a change of policies to ensure a suited council services to provide. Any recommendation?
Yeah, thank you very much. There's one thing about the political pay policy. Working in Rwanda for 6 years, they told us that Uganda is very good at developing policies, but very poor at implementation. The political pay policy itself is a very good policy, designed very well, but implementation here is a problem. When we formed the pressure group called Soroti and Hard, we managed to do some level of cleaning of the city. We cleaned the main market, we cleaned even a cheap market and so forth. So which means the responsibility is on us, the leader. Number two, about waste management. 51% of the waste in this town is considered organic. 11% is inorganic. But the 11% is causing more problems than the 51%. Now we have to look at the political pay policy in a different way. In Ginger, there are 500 waste collectors. In this city here, we need a system that operates. Number one is implementation. Two is enforcement in itself. Now, how do you implement this? We have to organize a system whereby we sensitize the users of waste, or the depositors of waste. Waste is itself, for us in manufacturing, they say there is no waste. The waste that we see as low density or LDPE can be used through innovation to make materials like papers and so forth. So if we bring business into garbage collection, we can make money.
How now do you implement this policy better? That's the issue we're looking for here.
There are two issues: implementation and
how do you implement it now?
Implementation is that we have first to sensitize all people on the dangers of waste, because you cannot implement something that people have not seen the danger of. Secondly, you have to take it down to the people. Communities must be involved in cleaning that area.
Do you have any other policy that you
Yeah, the policy that I've seen that was training this city, the operation, is the policy of Uganda Investment Authority being in charge of our industrial park. It has constrained us to attract investors. It has constrained us to enforce, because the people with these offers there that have expired, but the city can do nothing. So the policy on management of industrial parks in Uganda must change in favor of the local government being in charge of that industrial park, so that we can attract investors in that place.
Thank you. Thank you. Alfred, kind of just Emmanuel, this, how do you look at the pollution policy and how can it understand the people policy? And if you have any other policies you think government needs to change to enable cities subject.
Thank you so much for that great question. As a mayor, a pollutant pay policy is a wonderful policy for me because it helps deal with stubborn city polluters in a sense that once properly understood and implemented, will have a very clean city. A commuter pay policy is a policy that charges anybody who is found discharging or throwing garbage unnecessarily. Now, for it to effectively work or perform duties, we need to do serious sensitization of communities. Let people be aware that we need to live in a clean environment. And let them be aware that for this to happen, we need to enforce. And once it's enforced, let people be arrested, let people be charged, because we are clean city. Now, the only challenge I see with this commuter policy and commuter pay policy is that it is proposing high charges on the suspects of criminals. For an example, if you are found dumping unnecessarily, they charge you 2 million shillings. Is that realistic?
But is that in the political policy or that is for Soroti City Council?
I understand that is what a political policy entails. So I would propose that these kind of charges are high and it is detrimental to the local communities and may not achieve.
Because the political policy is
So
it's a national policy.
It's a national policy.
All.
I recommend.
And the 2 million is really the policy.
It's a proposal. And maybe that is the reason why the thing is not taking off. That's why we are saying, can there be adjustments on some of these stringent measures so that the policy can be wholesomely welcome?
Thank you so much.
I am.
Give the microphone to candidate.
You have not allowed me to talk about the policies.
The time is done. Okay, 1 minute.
Okay. The biggest policy that needs a reform in the city is the financial policy. This business of collecting money and it goes to Kampala, central treasury, is really affecting service delivery. How I wish there are now collection to be done locally, strengthen systems on ground, so that money can easily be accessed for people to use to immediately solve the problems that affect the city. And then two, another policy that I look at the human resource policy. Our health facilities are lacking service providers. Imagine one time I went there was only one midwife And to my surprise, a lady that was in labor delivered in the helm of attendants. That is suicidal. So let us see if amendments can be done on these policies so that they can allow.
Thank you so much for the new policies. Thank you so much for the new policies. That's a good one. May I call May? I want to ask one question to everyone. Your colleagues, any question for any of them?
Yes, I've known one person here for it. I know him.
Ignore,
I know him as
if you have one question, it's okay.
what do I ask them now?
Give us to the microphone.
Because none of them are still there.
It's okay. Yes. Any question to any of your colleagues?
Just like the division mayor has said, none of them has ever been there. If I have to ask him a question, I hope you don't be like this. You can ask me. Thank you. Honorable Paul Mayor, being our leader for some time.
Loud, you need to hear the question beside. Even if you are asking people to closer, you let's also hear the question well.
You have been our leader for quite a long time, actually for close to 25 years, and you still want to continue your leadership in several occasions. You have had allegations that the government is not doing much to support us in the development of Uganda. How differently are you now going to continue serving as a leader in the same government?
Thank you. Now, may I note that one? Just give the next person. You don't have the question. Council. Yes, we have any question for anyone there?
My question is very, it goes to Paul Omer. I'm just wondering when he's going to give his life to Jesus Christ. When is he going to give his life to God? Because I'm worried. If hell exists, I'm worried.
Yes. I want you to listen. Okay. Yes.
My question is to Engineer Francis.
Yes.
You are one of the contractors in the city and the district. How are you going to ensure that you don't involve conflict of interest in contract management?
Mayor, with due respect, Honorable, you have been in position of authority for over 2 decades. Now my question is, which new strategies do you have in place that you want to lay down on the table today that should be implemented to resolve the challenges that affect Soroti City? Even now, as we talk, these challenges are still existing. That you have not implemented. And then my last question.
One question, please. There's only one. One question. Thank you.
I wanted to ask another
One. The rule is one question. Yes. Yeah. After the 2 minutes respond at the with each question, and then later on, can also make questions from the audience and online.
Thank you so much, my colleague. First of all, it's on record. I have never applied for any contract, any service provision from the time of Soroti municipality up to now. I do national contracts, Ministry of Education, Ministry of Health that I get from the ministry. Other local contracts I do from other districts. I've never done any contract here in the city. I have investments, I have business here, so I don't want to have any conflict of interest, and I will not have. If I have not done it before, I will not apply before, I will not. I think it's okay here.
Yeah, I want number one to say the candidate of here was asking my colleague, was asking, what new things do you have? And you have overstayed. I started as a counselor. And I started as a counselor. And the people who are resident within here where we are can testify that this is not a state where Morapeso was fighting. I'm the only person who was known with the other 8 candidates, and I had a manifesto to have Morapeso accessible the way it is now. Now, number 2, Elas was asking me, when will I return? I don't know whether that is, I don't know the question. If you can allow me, is that the question? I want you to frame. Well,
Give him the microphone, clarify, we can understand.
That actually shows you that it's not attentive. If a mayor of Soroti City has been invited to a conference and given a chance to ask a question once, and he misses an opportunity to understand, I think it is not my problem. Is it? Anyway, the question is, for his benefit for the second time, when will he become serious and a honest person? Because the first one was a bit hard for him. The question is, when does he intend to become a serious and honest person? Because
It's okay. Give him.
I hope he has understood this time.
because the first time I thought it's the one who gives the life. And I was questioning him when I did it. That's why I asked him to reframe this question. Because when he say, when will you give out life to God? It's not saying how. Now, my seriousness is seen with all the developments that have been here, brother. And I've never stayed in a position for more than 10 years. When I became a councillor for Morapeso Development came, and this is city, I will tell you from north to west and east to south what I did as a speaker of Soroti Municipal Council. Number 2, when I was in the office as a LC3, the division, now where I'm sitting as the city division mayor, I constructed that division with the local revenue. And these are the governments that I see. When I came as a mayor of Soroti municipality, there are many gradual developments that everybody, including you and including Elasu, when he's going home to Lily Valley, I opened the roads and he's going to pass the roads that I opened at the time. My brother here is asking that you have been complaining. I want to give a narrative and a difference. Government of Uganda is a multi-party government. And therefore, I am a mayor. I came using a vessel FDC to compose and constitute the government of Uganda. That's why I'm a mayor. and the parties are there. And I am in the government, and whatever the government that you have seen now that you are enjoying the Soroti city, pass through me. I found when there are quite a number of things that government are intended to do here. Not every first of all, even if you have to go home now, dream on how I use my intelligence to have a very beautiful market in Central and East Africa, beyond the best. And I use my brain. I did not use somebody's brain, but I used to buy it.
Thank you.
And that is why I thank the people of Soroti for trusting me, and I want them again to trust me to lead Soroti city to one of the greatest cities of the world.
We now get to questions from the audience, and I hand you over to Stephen.
Thank you very much. I want to ask Mr. Korio, the MC, members, we are receiving only 5 questions strictly on the floor. And every question must be directed to a particular candidate. Let me take 5 questions for 5 candidates. And then I will take you through what the followers would like. But first, let's receive.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, are we okay? Are we okay? Let's clap for this senior. Let's clap for the. Thank you very much. Once again, Peter Koro is my name, aka Patrick P. I want to recognize a few individuals in the house. Eja Kait Elwa Matindi, the one who attempted to be the president of the Uganda, ladies and gentlemen. Eja Kait Elwa, thank you very much for coming through. Mr. Oile Ivan Ekemu, thank you very much. Abonyo Helen, thank you very much. The current speaker. Yela Mandoy. Yela Mamuri.
Just been corrected.
Okay, I am going to ask from us to be a little bit patient with us. We're going to the Q&A. Kindly can we listen carefully to the questions so that they are able to answer the questions appropriately. Is that okay? Okay. Mr. Onyato. If you have your question, I ask that you walk right where I am. Make sure the question is not so personal, but it should be about the government of Soroti City. I only want 4 people. 4 people, right here. Even the president came, by the way. The president is right there. Okay, we only have 20 minutes to go from here. 5 questions, and each question should be addressed to each candidate. No. To each candidate. By choice. I will go to by choice. Okay, ladies first. Your question, keep it kept and to the point.
Thank you very much. Thank you, members, for sacrificing time. My name is Akon Caroline Balasa. My mind is just an encouragement. I have been a sitting councillor and of Soroti municipality by then. We brought the city. But now when I look at our candidates, a moment, when we look at the candidates are very suitable to that position. My question is, as the councillors of the municipality, we are involved in bringing the market, the main market.
Ask the question. What is the question?
My question is one. My question was direct.
Okay.
Thank you very much. My name is Ogaram Emmanuel. My question goes to Honorable Omer. We have notably noticed that the revenue basket is dwindling as a result of tax evasion and also poor management. How are you going to manage? Because you have been managing a municipality of 17 square kilometers. Now, the city is 238 square kilometers. How are you going to manage now that there has been an increase in tax revenue collection? We had very few petrol stations, but now we have more. We have places where revenue is being collected, but where the revenue goes, no one knows. I want to give an example. I'm a chairperson. There is a Sunday market, whereby revenue is collected, but where the revenue goes, no one knows. And also within my area of jurisdiction, we have the community center. Revenue is being generated from people who are hired in those facilities, churches. So the question is, how are you going to manage to make sure that this revenue is not misused, or people don't swindle the revenue and put it into their pockets, such that service delivery is not effective in Soroti?
I ask that your question should be brief to the point, please.
Thank you so much. Good evening, everyone. My name is Abdallah Ali, a born of this ward, Professor Ward. My question goes to candidate Paul Omer. Accountability simply means taking responsibility of not just what you've done, but what you're leaving behind. Candidate Omer is seeking to climb a step higher. Apart from the roads, because I want us to believe that from the time Soroti became a city to date, we are just becoming worse each and every day. I want candidate Omer to give us some appetizing projects that is leaving behind. We want to actually use those projects to give us reasons to vote you as the city mayor. Because if you fail to take care of the small division, just like Honorable said, what miracle should we expect from you when we give you the bigger plate? Thank you.
Members, when we give you the microphone to ask the questions, you strictly have 1 minute. You simply have 1 minute to ask the question. So let's keep it in mind.
Thank you so much, moderator. Thank you so much, the moderator, and all the listeners and online viewers. I am a young student, and my question goes to Honorable Omer. With due respect, you're the biggest person in the team, and my concern is basically, how are you going to address the issue of the demarcation of the city? Because there are areas that have been identified as islands, most especially Oradai and some parts of Opiai. How are we going to address, because they are affected in service delivery? Thank you so much.
Hello. Yes. Again, I need to follow the education. Who made that? Here to Kudesi Montane, or we care by you, or one of the head of me to protect Swahili.
Thank you. I think let's take it up from the gentleman about the his question was, Imaibo Agola Riso idea. That was the question. So that was the last question before we went mute. I have one very last question. The very last question is coming from the area of Jason. Okay, what's the question, sir?
Good evening, everyone. My question goes to all the panelists here today. Soroti City is among the 10 cities that were created in 2010. other cities have grown and short in terms of growth, and ours is still stagnant. What are the remedies you all will do here to accelerate the potentials of growth of our city? Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
I head back to the moderators, and then we go back to the team this side. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Brother Peter. And thank you for those who have asked questions. Since most of the questions have been directed to one candidate, and that is the Honorable Olomen, we shall give you the ample time to respond adequately. Let's go and question what is happening on our social media handle. People have asked questions and we have picked them randomly. We have got thousands of questions and comments from Cheso Vibes, online, from MDRT, from Cheso Business. But actually, we have a person called Ojinga Willie. Ojinga Willie says he hasn't heard about the issue of the health sector. What are the candidates are going to do in terms of strengthening the health sector in the city? How will you improve on the health sector in the city? Ojinga Willie is directing that question to Honorable Mayor. There is a person called Jennifer Ambajo to Honorable Mayor Steve. There is garbage collection, but where is it deposited? Where is the garbage collected from the city deposited? We hope it is deposited in a place where it does not cause the human harm in the city. That is according to a budget. We have a colleague, somebody asked, it's about infrastructure. How are you going to protect the school land, especially the public land, and the requirements of Sharia Primary School, Primary School, Bama Primary School, another land that is actually being encroached by the city, by the city residents? Those are questions that can be raised. There is one person who controls the questions of justice network. This network, you are called Yuki George or Yuki George 5535. What are the plans the candidates are having for women who sell bananas? For women who sell bananas, sitting along the roads, especially at corner Lale Road and opposite Shell petrol station. The Shell is a public service. Those are the questions that we have randomly picked from our social media handles. At this time, I want to hand the microphone to Honorable Mayor. A number of questions have been directed to you. We are giving you strictly 10 minutes to respond to each one of the questions. Doesn't matter which one you will start with, but I hope you have recorded them. Thank you.
You know, first of all, I want to appreciate these questions. These questions will inform members that many people have been attending. People want to the development of this city to go far. And I want to start that the health sector, there are quite a number of words right now that will not have a single land or purpose of construction of health facility. If you go to Odera, the land in Odera was taken by an individual. And you know Odera does not have any land for purpose of construction of health facility. The same applies to OPI, the same applies to Aloet. Now, we need to track. First of all, I want to say that the plan My plan is that these areas allow land already for the health facility. And even in my consultation and the people of Allied, they want health facility in the Allied community. And it is in line with my thinking. Secondly, while I've been campaigning, moving around towards, I asked people of Mondera that my first course in action is to allocate money for purchase of land in order to ensure that we must be able to address the aspect of health in that area. We must be able to raise money. And I have that land procured such that we can be able to put in health facility in that area. Now, Obia is the same. Now, Obio, my thinking is that Obio Health Center too must be upgraded. And the upgrading of Obia Health Center 3, I mean 2 to Health Center 3, must go a long way with the lobbying and ensure that we must be able to equip this, looking at what is happening on our roads. Currently, there is a topic of a problem because health center 2 does not operate like health center 4. I mean health center 3. Now, these are the ones that have health facilities. We shall continue to uplift them and ensure that we shall be able to provide better success in those works. Now, the other one that was asked was by what is the city now. I think she's the one who was asking about the land that we are currently putting. My plan is that there are quite a number of private partners who want to partner with us to ensure that we must be able to turn a garden in that area in a minute to produce a black fly for feeding of animals. And that also generates a number of things. So if we brought to partners, we shall be able to deal with them and see that we shall be able to use and have the garden turned into useful products. And we shall deal with that in the time to come if the people of Soroti will trust me for that. The other one is how we protect school lands. The person who asked this question, I am very happy about this because the question of Swaria comes in here. Swaria, there was a meeting that where people had accused me of saying Swaria. And in that meeting, it was held in the city. And when this meeting was held in the city, the family stated and eliminated of them because I started with my documents where the case of Swaria was on appeal. The current leadership of the city, knows because they say there are 2 layers of leadership, the division and the city. The city went and entered into what they call a consent judgment with the family of 9 Belek Namba. And I, Omer, the division mayor, did not have any authority to go and when I discovered that they had entered into a consent is when I saw developments come up in that area. And when we went to the city meeting, the family of Nangwa appointed 2 officers and they were present in that meeting. I see my brother Mulonga was here. When they came following me, I said, organize a meeting so that we must shame them. The city leadership has been talking about Omer. That day, the city leadership was told at their face that remove Omer from the issue of Swaria and carry the cross. Because they entered into a consent judgment. And the consent judgment, I have asked the city leadership to give me a consent judgment. From day 1 up to today, they have never provided. I can post this question, and this is a question I post to the leadership of the city. If a city entered into a consent judgment with the family of Namba of 6 billion. Why was Waiya land sold at 1 billion? That's the question I was asking. And that's the question I've asked the central government to investigate the city authority, not of men. The people, when I came back from Nansingwa, I called the first time when I arrived, when I switched on the phone, when I came from Kenya, I was taking a SIM in Lwakaka. The first call that I received was that there is a consent judgment that has been entered between the city to give the IDPs land of Guanon for a person primary school. When I came back from there, I went to Justice Adono, who reversed the decision. And today, the case has been restated. He asked me, whose land is this one? I said, the land is for government. And the land is for the school. And I'm a witness to that effect. And Justice Adono take the proceedings and cancel the ruling that people have demarcated the land after my intervention as a mayor of Soroti City. And today I can strongly say the matter has been postponed or adjourned by court up to March, because I requested the court that I cannot be moving in the court inside when actually I am campaigning. And I have documents that say that the city authority signed the consent with people who are IDPs. So I have the documents, all that. If you want documents, like I have seen the mark and outside, come and I give you those documents. Now, there is a question that was asked about boundaries. When the city was divided, I know that the city was divided and there was nothing I could be able to do. I was the first mayor of the city. The city was divided in a very, and I never attended that meeting. But because he wanted the city, I had to accept. The city was divided here or what I was not deciding. And the city MP right now was the one in charge of dividing the city, not me. So therefore, we are asking, and I've told the people for Rwanda and the people for here on the other side, there are people say that they want to belong to the West. There is a process that must be undertaken in order to do that, to reverse the position. So currently, that matter will continue in that way. Now, there is a question that was asked by, he has been asked that whether you have new ideas for Soroti City. The new ideas are there. How much has Soroti City grow? Soroti City grows in 4 areas.
Honorable Mayor, you have the 4 minutes remaining to
wind up
to the remaining questions.
Yes. Yeah, I thought that the 7 questions they repeat themselves. I think somebody repeated. Now, there are quite a number of key sectors that must be able to get us. And as you know, there are areas that they were brought to the city, and they are still agricultural areas. We must be able to tap the urban agriculture in order to ensure that these areas will continue to produce to serve the city in terms of food provision. Secondly, I want to agree with my brother, the President. The policy of investment in this country, where the seed investment hub is there for us. There are people who have been, I moved to Rwanda, I moved to Botswana. Governments there have adopted a policy that will ensure if you want any plan for government investment, you must show capacity. Not like what our people have here, where people have come to apply for, they have applied for land and they have stayed the land without anything. I agree with it, and I must be able to advocate and ensure that the investment of Soroti must be brought here for us to discuss and ensure that we must be able to grow the city. The road infrastructure, many of you may not be knowing that Lale Road was the first road that governments used, the British used, and there's a ferry beneath water in Lale. And this ferry, since this was a national road, I need to advocate that this road must actually shorten the distance between us and Kampala. Government must be able to take up and turn up the road that takes us to Lale and across to the other side. Besides that, we must be able to shorten the hours of doing business. Other governments have been able to do. We must be able to say that we shall be able to discuss many of this. And education, we have been able to do it. Now I want to answer my brother Ogaram. You can summarize now. Ogaram was asking, how do you better revenue collection? You see, sometimes when I see people ask questions and they are calibrates, it's very bad. Very, very unfortunate. I asked my brother Nani Omuria was asking me a question. Yet he knows that it's one person who even got pressure because he refused to pay government money.
Thank you very much. I want to continue asking the public and those who are following us that you still have a chance to air out your views. You can continue commenting from TV, send your comments from Teso Vibes, send your comments from Teso News Network, send your comments on the Patriots Online, so that we can continue digesting the issues concerning our beautiful Soroti city that we all need to live for the better tomorrow. There are a lot of things that we have not digested, only that time has not been enough for us, but we still give a platform that we can still use our digital platforms, bring in your ideologies and your ideas and your questions that we can continue seeking answers through this kind of platforms. I'll give my brother Peterson to give a concluding statement. But first, I want to give an opportunity to the candidates to air out their last remarks in just 1 minute per candidate. I want to begin with the Honorable.
Thank you. Maybe before the last remarks, there are two questions that have not been answered, and it was general questions of like, one is why other cities have developed and ours is still stagnant. The issue is we don't have a physical plan for Soroti. A physical plan would be guiding us on what we need to develop infrastructure. Where should the road pass? Where should the hospital be? It would even be easier for us to know when we have a physical plan. We have lost business with the universities. When students of engineering come to Soroti City, they ask for the physical plan so that they can develop their projects. But because we don't have them, it makes it difficult for government to plan for us. Then two, they talk about these roadside sellers, these women of Bogoya. As a businessman, I feel so bad because those women have suffered a lot. They are taxpayers, but the government and the local council has not considered them. One, as a business person, you have to look for a customer. It's not a customer to look for you. But because the city council has failed to control parking of the buses, of the buses and taxis, it has made those women now to follow those customers even up to the If the taxis were confined in the taxi park, and not in the taxi park, the buses not in the bus park, those women would be confined in the bus park. And that's because it's open. That's why I want to do that. Thank you so much.
Thank you. You have concluded with your last remarks.
I wish you all the best. 22nd January, what the what the pass.
Thank you very much. That is our concluding remarks, and I'm sure we wish you all the very best and a successful campaign. Honorable Elas.
Thank you again. Just two statements. want to respond to the general question that was asked online, but the question on why Soroti City is lagging behind. I think that bottom line is that the progress of every community is determined by the quality of its leaders. The failure of a community to progress it shows the inability of the leaders to take that community forward, because that is the role of leadership. And the other is on the question of the market. I mean, the women struggling around the road, getting along the road. I think the issue is about positioning and empowering them to find a spot where they can do business. And that is the role of the city council in terms of planning and putting in place mechanisms that encourage them to stay wherever they are being gazetted to stay. Now, on my last remarks, I think that the people of Soroti should be reminded that our community is our responsibility. I think that it is time for us to give opportunity to leaders who are ready to take on our challenges head on. Leaders who are not masters in blame game, telling lies and propaganda, because lies, propaganda, and excuses will not take us forward as a community. It is time for us to give opportunity to people with new ideas, with energy, with the skills and exposure to propel our people. We cannot teach old dogs new tricks. We need to give opportunity to people who have been exposed and are willing to take on the leadership of our society. Not leaders who are looking for retirement. They are tired and perhaps feel they have nowhere to go and work. Those are going to be a liability to our progress as a community, because no miracle will happen. I conclude by wishing all of us a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. And please allow the Holy Spirit to guide you, because like your ears have been allowing you to listen and your eyes have enabled you to see, there is no better choice than the last for anyone, like it or not. Do not allow the devil to mislead you. May the Holy Spirit bless all of you. I thank you for coming, and God bless all of you.
Merry Christmas and Happy New Year to you. The last what I have taken wrong from you is that you cannot teach on the roads the things. Thank you very much. Yes. There's a general question. And the question is, why is Soroti City lagging behind? At the beginning of this debate, I gave statistics. And from that statistics, we can understand order in the house. Let's allow Honorable Abitu to make Number one is that Soroti City has to become clean fast. As a marketeer, you must have first your product arranged well. Then you advertise, then you market your city. Now, Soroti City is not positioned. When you look at Mali, it has positioned itself as a manufacturing city. When you look at Lera, it has positioned itself as a progress industry. When you look at Koima, it has positioned itself as a tourism city. First, we need to identify where our strength is. Then we market our city according to where our strength is. That is what is very important. So me as a specialist, I can do roading, a lot of roading, and you might market the city, and you are bringing manufacturing, so that we increase investments into this city, then the city will grow. Without increasing investments into the city will not grow. But we should also be politicized. Leadership is a... Your time is up. We can see you 30 minutes to wait up. You were giving on the seconds. 2 minutes, that's okay. Yeah, 30 seconds. Sorry, 30 seconds. Yes. We need to be politicized. Leadership is always spurred by good leadership, knowledgeable leadership. And that is the quality you'll find from my exposure internationally and globally. Thank you so much.
Yes,
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for responding to our call. We wish you the very best in your campaigns and wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. What will you?
Thank you so much for a city to strive. We need the leaders who work for the people who value people. We need partnerships. We need to plan and develop infrastructure. We need a clean city. We need to invite investors to come, and the city will flourish. Now, over the women who are moving along Lare Road, the first issue is we need to organize them, sit them down, talk to them, register them, issue uniforms or IDs, and gazette trade zones where we can put those ladies to perform the business, and we will stop the roaming around. Here by people of Soroti City, ladies and gentlemen, I am sitting in front of you not as a stranger, but as a leader, one of you who has walked through the grassroots. I have the experience, I have the energy to take you through this great moment that we need an immediate change to be seen in our city. That's why I tell and I say to you, leadership requires a heart. I request of you to stand behind my candidature so that I'll be able to deliver the required term limits. Finally, when it comes on 22nd of January, please vote Opio John Emmanuel, vote a humble leader, vote peace, because your voice is your city and your future. May God bless you and indeed bless you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Bless you too. Your vote is your city and your vote is your future. We want to thank you for the discipline. We want to thank you for the response you are on. And we want to wish you a successful campaign and happy new year and everything in your campaign. I want to give the microphone to the Honorable Man.
First and foremost, I want to thank my brothers that I think let us continue with our friendship when we were expanding to leave the city. I want to say that the Soroti we want is a Soroti that should be inclusive. Soroti we want, Soroti that must have people who love Soroti. Soroti that we want must be a Soroti that must be able to listen to authority. And the authority should be able to explain and do things. I want to say that the women, the last remarks that I want to make, the women that are there and the issue of physical planning. Soroti, Opio has been my Silva up to tomorrow. If we win the elections, it will be okay. We had a fiscal plan that was proposed for Soroti City. That we should have actually taken the people down, because the fiscal plan affects the land use and the people, you know, people who have been from the city still have on the Somaliland. And these people needed to participate in the fiscal planning. But we do not know why the city authorities at the top level decided to recall that and refuse the instructions of the ministry to come down. I want to pledge the people of Soroti that we must be able to have inclusive planning with the people that are being brought to the city. I want to say that the women who are there doing business outside, those women have areas overboard. The only problem is that the centers of power have become many. You will find that when you are dealing with them at the division level, the city takes over and the other office becomes in. And therefore, if we want to learn authority, all of us must be able to respect authority. So I want to wish, including the man who says, I wish you well. for the good time. And I want you to decide when. And don't be surprised that I will be the winner for the election for Soroti. Come 22nd. And I want to appeal to everybody here. Everybody that is here, I want to appeal to you to vote to me for the mighty song that we need to take Soroti.
Thank you very much. I want to thank everybody who has been actually staying here with us in the beginning, especially the new colleagues. Let me give back to Peterson to make the last remarks as we hand back to you.
I want to thank everyone who turned up here. I want to thank the management of Rhino Camp. I want to thank the survivors, TNA, all journalists here, all mediums and present for making this happen. We are very grateful to all of you, the candidates. Please, thank you so much for turning up, making this great. And we look forward to very many other engagements, especially with the other positions. Soon going to end with the mayors, we shall be here many times for the other positions. And please, when you have time next time, we will invite others you as well pass by. You also grace the meeting. I want to thank you so much. Thank you. Emmanuel, thank you. Mayor Paul, thank you. Thank you, Council. Thank you so much. I want to say this has been great. Where maybe we ask other questions, please, we are trying to ensure we get the best information out of you for the benefit of the listener. We don't have any intentions to make it difficult for any candidates. Thank you so much. The audience, thank you so much. Next time, Tana. God bless you all.